Hi guys, if you're watching, welcome to the Women and Career video session. Women Career is a platform that promotes women to grow their careers. We give them tools and resources to help them in growing their careers. And if you're watching us for the first time, please do not forget to click the like button. Follow us on social media. Our website is www.womenandcareer.com. So this month we are talking about women in the entertainment industry. And today we have an amazing guest, the queen of Afrosoul as she's known, Evelle Music. She's the winner of the Nigerian Idol 2014. She's won a music show with Nestle. And last year, 2018, she also won the African Magic Viewers' Choice Award. We are happy and glad to have Evelle in the house. So Evelle, to our first question, tell us about your childhood. Let's go back to to how it all started. Tell us about your childhood.
Yeah, my childhood, it was quite fun because, yeah, we didn't have much, but like we were always happy because everybody used to sing and dance. I remember in the evenings, every evening, we were living in Agege, very close to the market. So you wake up in the morning and the first thing you hear is, oh, Shodi, it was just a thing. But in the evenings when everything is calm, we all, get out in the evening and everybody sits outside, and we start singing. That's like my greatest childhood memory. I can't forget those memories. I remember singing in the children's choir in church. I'm actually born into a family of 10. My mom had 8 children. I'm the first from behind. I don't like to say I'm the last. Yeah, it was just really a music family. That's what we did the most. We just sang and sang. I grew up watching my dad sing in a traditional band. And every evening, I'd see him come back with his friends and they're sharing money. I'm like, okay, there's money in this thing, But, everybody sings. But for some reason, my dad sort of pushed me to sing more because it felt like that is what I was more interested in, or that's what I've always been more interested in. So he gave me that 100. My parents, actually, my family, they're always cheering me on, like, Evelle, you need to do this, So I got that 100% support from my family to do music.
So Evelle, did you think that your relationship with your dad and the fact that you admired him, you were close, and he was also cheering you up, did you think that influenced the decision to go into the music industry?
Yes, partially because, partially I think it did. Because I remember at some point, remember when Benita just started singing, I'm from Edo State. So then when my dad or my parents or my siblings start watching Benita's videos on TV, whatever I'm doing, wherever I am, they call me and say, Evelle, come and see, I just raced to the place and sit down, and I could imagine myself being Benita. That pushed me a lot. And everything that had to do with music in church, anywhere, my dad, my mom, they made sure that I sang. I didn't even know I could sing well at the time. I just knew that each time I sang, people were always clapping and screaming and coming to hug me, The fact that people enjoyed to hear me sing was everything. That sort of, made me want to do music as well.
I know that you write, you sing. I would like to know, do you have a preference? Do you prefer to perform or to sing or to write? Is there a preference?
Okay, so I actually prefer performing because at the end of the day, if I'm a singer and I'm a writer, I don't think it's complete if I'm just those two without performing. The end goal is to actually communicate this music to people. The only way I'm actually able to communicate properly, the only way I'm able to communicate properly is to get people to listen to me. That's why most times when I get on stage, I skip the whole talking bit, and I just want to get my mic stand and sing because it's easy for me to connect with people when I sing, and that's what I really want to do. So I prefer to perform.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Like that. But have you written for other artists before?
Yes, I tried writing for a few artists. I tried writing for Lola Ray at some point in the studio. I tried writing for, there are times I've been in the studio with other artists, and I always enjoy, writing with them or co-writing with other writers in the studio.
Let's go back to Nigerian Idol 2014. Now, you're sitting at that stage and they've just announced the winner for the Nigerian Idol 2014, and it was your name, Evelle. How did you feel?
Till now, I still can't find the right words to express how I felt at that moment, because honestly, I was not even expecting to win. To me, it was like, okay, I'd been to several other auditions and several other competitions, Nestle, Project Fame, Niger Sings, like I've been to other ones and I never got past second, third stages, apart from Nestle that I did with a group and won. And I was just tired of telling my parents or my siblings or my friends that I'm going for another competition, because each time I tell them, they're like cheering up, they're like, okay, yes, Evelle is going to bring the money home, and then I go and I come back and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, this and that happened. So I thought, you know what, I don't want to disappoint anybody. I went there by myself. It was on my birthday.
Wow.
Yes. I was working for my now record label, and we're coming from Ondo State, and I was, jamming with their band, and I was coming from Ondo State from a coronation, and then we stopped at Burger, and someone called me and said, this is the last day of Nigerian Idol audition, you have to go. I'm like, I'm tired. I'd made up my mind not to go for any, But the person was so persistent, and this was someone I had not spoken with for like a year. I just decided to, the place for the audition place was very close, so let me just stop by and go for this, do this thing, and I did, and I was picked. I was like, okay. And when the second day I was picked again, I was like, okay, it just kept going and going like that, and it got to a point. I think we were in top 12, and I thought to myself, even if I don't win at this stage, I think I've gotten what I want. I want a platform where I can start my career. Prior to that time, I'd never been in the studio to do my own songs. I've always been surviving with music, writing other people's songs and doing backup for people's entire album, and but I'd never gotten in the studio to do my personal song, and I felt like that was the platform for me, So I didn't even expect to win, because the person that was the last person, that it was just two of us remaining, myself and ID. She had a lot of fans. Like, you go outside the venue, and there are cars parked everywhere, like jeeps here and there. And me, it was Okada guys with cardboards, Evelle on it, from Egbeda, where I grew up. And people rooting for me here and there. It was like a rally, man. It wasn't funny. And I saw cars everywhere. I'm like, God, how am I going to compete with this babe like this? So I was like, okay, you know what, God? I'm grateful, at this point. If I don't win, I'm really grateful. But when I heard Evelle, as a matter of fact, when they said Evelle the first time, I didn't hear it, because I'd blocked out everything. So I had to wait. They had to say again, Evelle, and then I screamed. I was like, what? No way. It was, I can't explain how I felt. It felt very good. It felt like the cloud came closer, and I was able to catch, the cloud with my hands.
So if you had to look at the whole process, look at it again, if you had to reflect on it, what would you have said you learned from the experience or from that process? I kept wondering why I never got far in any of the other competitions I had been to before then. It was because I was not ready. So I got to understand that as long as you're ready for something, then you can have it. I learned before then, let me give an instance. I'd been to 3 different driving schools before Nigerian Idol, and I couldn't drive, But when I did the last driving class, I knew that I was ready. I didn't think a car was coming from anywhere. But like, I'd walked, I'm sure at that point in time, I'd walked the entire Lagos with my legs. And I was telling God, it's time for a car to show up. And I didn't even think Nigerian Idol was going to get me a car. So when the car came, I'm like, oh my God. So I was just preparing to have a car, and I didn't know it's going to come like this. So it was the same thing with Nigerian Idol.
I joined the band. I'd been doing repertoire with Eco Hotel, Radisson, Blue Wheat Baker Hotel, piano bar in Ikoyi. I was just getting all the experience and getting myself ready, and I didn't know, you know. So when that happened, I was like, oh God, so this is what you were actually preparing me for.
So you put a quote on Instagram, you know, I step out every day not seeking to be in the spotlight, but seeking for a spot to light.
Yes.
And that's an interesting quote. But I would like to get your viewpoint about fame and the entertainment industry. What's your take about fame?
Okay, so all my life, unconsciously, well, I started consciously to live knowing that one day I'm going to be big. I fantasize a lot and I dream a lot. And I see what I'm going to be in the future every day when I wake up. And I try as much as possible not to do things that contradict these things, you know. And so I wake up every day not just seeking for the spotlight, because that way sometimes you can actually miss it.
Seeking for the external, for fame, for something
yes,
fleeting.
even though that is the end goal, though, you know, but at the end of the day, those little things that you don't think count are the things that make up those big things. So I try as much as possible to make conscious efforts to go or get anywhere, any environment, any gathering, and make sure that I make a positive, you know, impact.
To be a spot.
To be, I step out every day not to search for the spotlight, but to be what's that? Oh my God!
You said here, but seeking for a spot
to light.
To light.
Yes.
I love that. So you're seeking for somewhere you can add value. You know, somewhere you can bring. What is Evelle? What Evelle is passionate about? What is your talent? Just to light up the place.
Light up the place.
So that takes us to the last.
Whatever way, it doesn't necessarily have to be music. You know. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you two last questions. Okay. So finally, one last question. What has been your biggest sacrifice so far in your music career?
I'm very emotional, but I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. My greatest sacrifice, I was once adopted, actually.
Wow.
And I remember staying in this place for 2 years. I was adopted because they wanted to send me to school. And I was excited. But 2 years down the line, nothing had happened. And each time I talked about it, it was a totally different story. Oh, someone has to get out of school for you to get in, and you know. And each time I went home, my dad would be like, we don't have money for your school fees, you have to go back there, blah, 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 you know. I remember one day just waking up and I was like, God, I can see my life wasting right in front of me. So I picked a few clothes so nobody noticed I'm leaving, and I left the house and I never came back. So for the first time, I joined a gospel record label, but I was sure I wasn't going to do gospel music, not just gospel music. I wanted to, you know, explore music generally. And they were trying to get me in that record label, but I didn't. So it caused a lot of problems where I was staying after then, because I was staying in a record label house. So when I left there, for the first time, I had 1,002 thereabout with me. And then I came.
That's less than $50.
Yeah, and then I came straight to the island for the first time. I didn't have any friends here. I didn't have any siblings, nobody at all. I just heard about the place, never been there. You know, I crossed the Third Mainland Bridge and I went straight to VI. Adeola. I started asking people, please, is there any restaurant around here? I wanted to join a band so bad, and I heard that bands were on the island. I didn't know anybody, I didn't know any band, so I thought, okay, the closest thing to joining a band is to get on the island first. He said, go, we will get there, you know. And then the second day, because I left, I literally had to beg for transport fare. Wow. Not literally, I begged for transport fare to, you know, get home that day. And then I got back, I asked my siblings at home. I went to my family house like I was visiting, and I asked my siblings at home to help me with change here and there. Came back the next day, eventually found the place. I didn't have an O-level result. I mean, the last time I was in school, I was in JS2. Wow. So it was hard for me to get a job because it kept asking for my CV. And I didn't have any. I didn't even know what a CV was at the time. It was so funny, you know. So eventually, I got this restaurant off Egerton-Idehen off Adeola off Ido Martins, and then he just liked the way I spoke, and he was like, okay, you know what, let's get you started. And I started working in the restaurant for a year plus, sleeping in the restaurant. I had just two clothes, two jeans and 2 shirts, and I would wash one and wear one. But I did that for a year plus before I eventually found a band to join, and then I started music.
This is an inspiration. For those of you watching, I can't believe it. I'm almost also a tear. But it's a story of grit and perseverance.
Yeah.
Evelle, what would you like to be remembered for? Think about it in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, when people talk about your music, your work, or talk about Evelle as a person in this continent or on the planet. What would you want to be remembered for?
I'd like to be remembered as that person that believes that no matter what it is you think you are, people think you are, you can totally change the narrative at any time if you make up your mind to do it.
Thank you so much, Evelle, for coming today. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, we're going to have Evelle's social media handles on the scroll bar: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Don't forget to follow her music career. Please like her page and see all the great things she's doing. And if you're watching us for the first time, like I said, don't forget, like us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter at Women and Career. Our website is www.womenandcareer. And finally, we're going to say thank you and hope to see you. And stay tuned.